And we are live. Welcome back. Welcome back to Carnivore Scott, aka the Common Sense Carnivore. I'm doing a rather unscheduled live here for the general purpose of doing a live. I just recorded a video to put up as a long-standing one, and I just didn't like anything about it. It's so difficult to do a video and then you go in to do all the editing and you try to have energy and just it's not my forte. Hey, with me today, we do have one of the pups sitting back here in the chair. She might get a little rambunctious. I don't know. She looks pretty wiped out now, but I've seen her move twice in the last hour. And wow, that's been quite a busy morning for her. No, she's just relaxing. But there could be a time when she all of a sudden perks up her ears and she runs out to go do some barking and investigating or letting me know that there's a butterfly in the yard or a bird or a plane or motorcycles or, dare I say, her sister. Her sister is such a rambunctious little puppy, but we love her nonetheless. We sure do. Anyhow, I'm messing with my mic here. Hello and welcome to the House of Scotty P with your host, Scotty P. And, I want to give an update today. It's a big thing. A big thing happened in the past week with my liver health. You see, I've been fighting, or really shouldn't say fighting. I've been dealing with a diagnosis of the fatty McFatty liver. Oh, that's right. Somewhere in this body, right in here. Yeah, right here. Right here, all the way through to here. Great big old huge organ. The old liver. Oh, and I'm sweaty Betty. Sorry about that. It's a little bit warm here in Alabama. Anyway, been dealing with a diagnosis of having a fatty liver. So what? Who cares? What does it matter? Yeah. I mean, I knew I was already fat because my pants kept getting bigger and bigger. Well, because I had to, otherwise that'd be kind of embarrassing to walk around, with my pants not fitting. And I know muumuus are all the fashion for some, but I didn't want to get into a muumu either. I'd rather eat the muumu. But yeah, anyhow, so I've had this fatty McFatty liver diagnosis now for a number of years, since like 2019, and could be even 2018, not sure. It's a long time ago. And that was okay. I did some research that people get fatty liver. It's okay. Matter of fact, I happen to have right here from what year is this? This is a fibro scan. That was the year I was born in, so let's not get crazy. So this is from 2020. And yeah. So my fibro scan right here, see? My fibro scans seem to say or indicate that while I had a fatty liver, my liver did not have a signature of cirrhosis or a fibrosis, and it was not stiff. We all know what a liver's like. I mean, you've seen cow liver, maybe, or chicken liver. It's all jelly and flimsy. Well, my liver was nice and jellied and flimsy, but it was infiltrated with a lot of fat. Well, we move forward another year from that, 2021, and all of a sudden now I'm getting an indication on my radiologic report indicating that I have graduated and gone from having a fatty McFat liver to a fatty McFat liver with portal vein hypertension. Now, some of you who are coming in, you might have seen me make a comment addressing this condition in other people's live streams and things like that. But um, that whole portal vein hypertension, that's no bueno. That's not good. Um, there's some significant medical issues with that. Matter of fact, I'm going to type it up in my Google machine, old Doctor Google. The idea being there are, what do you call it, associated conditions with portal vein hypertension. One of those things, it talks about uh, varices. Let's see, part of vein habitation and what do you call it? Secondary? Yes, I'm typing at the speed of something. I don't know, a condition. Yeah, this is riveting YouTube. I know. Let me bring this over so we can take a look at it. There you go. Oh, yeah. Gastrointestinal bleeding because of varices or enlarged veins in the stomach and the esophagus that can break and or rupture and cause internal bleeding. And then you have ascites. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly, which is fluid that can leak from the liver and the intestines into the abdominal cavity, causing swelling. Yes, ascites or ascites could be ascites or ascites. We go with the CTs or varices, which is kind of like a varicose vein. So, with this diagnosis of the portal vein hypertension, they did the scope from one end, they did the scope from the other end, and I guess they met in the middle. My only requirement was they didn't use the same scope. That's supposed to be funny. Sorry. Anyhow, they did it and they came back and said, well, Mr. Scotty, we don't see any signatures of that. You don't have the hemorrhoids in your esophagus, and you don't have the water pockets of fluid, which I guess would be lymphatic fluid, all in your belly. And you see the people that have great big, huge, distended bellies. I mean, brick hula hoop bellies, right? Well, those hula hoop bellies full of fluid, and you hear about people getting drained and taken off of them, and quite uncomfortable. I can only imagine, because your diaphragm won't be able to work well. You won't get a full breath of air, almost kind of like congestive heart failure, fluid. If you ever get fluid on the knee, you know exactly that binding. We talk about it oftentimes in the carnivore space as having inflammation, right? I.e., a lot of fluid in a small space, and it restricts motion and causes lots of pain and discomfort. So this is what the doctors were saying my future was. My future was going to be the hula hoop belly, and be very careful not to cough too hard, because I could rupture those varices that could be in my esophagus. Now, I already have other problems with my esophagus. I've had a lot of acid reflux, hiatal hernia, itty bitty, but nonetheless, and esophageal strictures, or Schatzki's ring. No, it's a terrible thing when they have names for these things that sound like something you'd get from a deli, right? Basically, what would happen with these esophageal strictures is, because of the acid reflux coming up into my esophagus, the body had built scar tissue up and was narrowing my esophagus. And so when I would eat food that was very dry, like meat and bread, it would get caught right about here. And then I would choke, because it would be a physical obstruction, and the saliva that you always have, a little bit of saliva, maybe a little postnasal drip going down the back of the throat all the time. Well, that would build up to where it was now have to come out of my mouth. I could get nothing past those strictures, and it would hurt. Oh, the pain! Taking my chest, trying to open it up, and of course you can't open up your esophagus from the outside. Very painful. Very disconcerting. It could last, whatever bite it was I took. That, from the moment it got stuck and I realized it, till when it would finally pass down, could be 10, 20 minutes of excruciating discomfort. And what do you do with all the extra saliva? And your body's trying to help you out. No fun. So I've had 3 surgeries, which basically they knock you out, and they take a broomstick and they push that down. It's a graduated cylinder. Oh, are you getting up now, baby? Baby, do you want to say hi to anybody? No? Baby says, I'm grossed out, Dad. I don't want to hear about your throat. Do you? No, you don't. You go, Coral. Get out of here. Um, she and I got into an argument yesterday. I'm kind of surprised she's talking to me today. But this esophageal stricture, I had to go get it opened up, and basically they're saying, okay, there's your throat, and we're going to push this tube, and we are going to just ream it open to where you get the tube that's the right thickness, the right diameter, I should say, so food can pass in and out. And I've had to have this done a couple of times. No fun. So when they told me I could have these varices in my esophagus, I was a little bit concerned. I've had problems. Last thing I need to do is have a constriction and have the varice and have a big fly flying around. Okay, I guess we're gonna have a fly join us for this meeting. But anyhow, what I'm saying is I'm vulnerable. So the VA does some tests this year, and guess what we find out? We find out. Yeah, that's right. I messed around and I found out. I said to the doc, Doc, I need to know this year. I need to know what are we going to do about this portal vein hypertension? What do I do about this portal vein hypertension? And I love my doc. My VA doc is awesome. My VA doc listens to me and is helpful for me and doesn't give me the evil eye when I'm doing the things I do and when I do my Googling. And Dr. Paul Mason had a video that came out recently with Dr. Barry saying, hey, record your doctor, talk to your doctor, empower your doctor and yourself with information. If you want to Google. The doctor's not feeling threatened. That's what Dr. Mason was saying. And my doctor's like that. So I said to my doc, hey, doc, we got to find out this year. I need to know. And they did the tests, and we did all the tests for because I got the diagnosis this year of cirrhosis and fibrosis and liver surface nodules. All right. We have graduated from fatty McFatty liver to fatty McFatty liver with portal vein hypertension to fatty McFatty portal vein hypertension, cirrhosis, and fibrosis and liver surface nodules. And I'm like, oh, gee, Minnie, this is like I'm winning all the prizes. I don't want any more prizes here. So we did notice one thing though. And my doc noticed it, and she said, well, here's what we got to do. We got to do more blood tests. So I go down there, plop out an arm, say, hey, find a vein. I'll help you find a vein. And they find the vein, they drain it, and we're going to find out I don't have any hepatitis family stuff. Like I don't have hepatitis A, hepatitis A1B, A1, whatever they have, all sorts of hepatitis. No hepatitis B, no hepatitis C. They check for my thrombonin. They had the idea of how fast my blood coagulates. They checked for a lot of things. And guess what? Everything came back right. They even checked for cancer because my liver picture doc said, hey, we got areas that look like there might be tumors. You don't want to see that either. Liver cancer, right? And we ruled it all out. No liver cancer. Didn't happen, never happened. What it is the pockets of my liver that have lost the fat because I'm on this carnivore diet. And it's starting to look kind of like Snuffleupagus or something in the purple. No, it's got areas that are clear and then areas that have the fat infiltration. And so my liver isn't losing the fat homogeneously, or it's just not losing it equally across the entire volume of the liver. It's just saying, I'll take some here and some there and there and there and there. And so I have pockets that don't have fat anymore. Yay! That's what I'm going for. So we take the fatty McFatty liver and we're changing it. And we go through all this stuff. But guess what we're not seeing now? And I get, wait, whoa. Got to put the brakes on this. So I'm talking to the doc, and the doc's a general practice doc. And she's like, look, we're going to send you to the liver clinic. Not just gastroenterology, but we're going to send you to the liver clinic. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And I get a telephone consult because they called me, the VA, very responsive, at least for me. And the VA says, what do you want to do? Hey, buddy, The VA says, what do you want to do? Do you want to go see a doctor in your local area? You want to go see a doctor in a regional area? Or you want to come to the VA? I was like, I don't really care. What's the time frame on when I get to see the docs? And it turns out to see the VA doc via via phone, a video consult was 2 weeks. To go see any other doctor was 2 to 3 months. I was like, well, let's do the video consult. Get on the phone with the video consult, and the doctor said, well, I have this news for you. And I said, okay, I'm all ears, and I have big ears, right? And the doc says, we don't see portal vein hypertension. Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's right. It seems carnivore has not just been in the process of reversing the fatty liver, which hasn't completely occurred, but the worst possible thing I could think of, the portal vein hypertension, is gone. No more report of it, because my portal vein, which had been 1.6 centimeters, is down to 1.5 or whatever. It's smaller. So it's like we don't have the portal vein hypertension commentary anymore. Amen. Right? And I'm thinking now, okay, doc, what do we do about the cirrhosis and the fibrosis? And we talked and we went over all sorts of tests. And she would say, well, we're going to need to do this. Oh, we already did that. And we're going to need to do this. Oh, we already did that. And she pulls up all the data. She goes, I got to be honest with you. I'm like, is that difficult? No. Okay. She said, we got a couple more tests we have to run. And we're going to run those when you come in your normal cycle. So what that tells me is, I'm going to shake my camera when I do this now. What that tells me is my liver doctor, the hepatologist, not just a gastroenterologist, but the hepatologist, which I'm very glad was not a herpetologist because I'm not a snake. But my hepatologist is now saying we can defer testing. Now, these doctors don't want to defer any testing because there could be some payola involved there. So they're like, nah, we're going to defer some testing until your normal cycle. Okay. And we're going to do a couple little other tests and a different type of sonogram so that the test we had here, they're going to do this again, but they're going to do it in the VA. This was done at a medical study lab, a fibro scan at the North Alabama GI Research Center. They're going to do this, and they're going to find out, is my liver jello-y or is it stiff? Because if you have a stiff liver, that's no good. That means you probably do have some cirrhosis. But the hepatologist clinic is saying, you got an image. And the doc looks at the image and doc says, yep, it's a stick. Yep, that's what you have. You have a stick. They don't have any clue what type of wood it is. They don't know where it came from. You got a stick. That's it, right? So what the doc is thinking is we're going to do these other two tests to completely rule out cirrhosis and fibrosis of the liver. At which point in time, I will do a happy dance. Now, I'm not sure about it's not like the panda dance. It's a little bit different, the happy dance. But I will do some kind of happy dance and I will record it and you will get to join me in the celebration of the happy dance. Chris, I know you're on here and you know this in a way that most people won't know it. But the truth of the matter is, until it's in your life, your child, your wife, your mom, your dad, until it is something in your life or right next to your life, you just don't really appreciate the gravity of the moment. It's just the way it is. I mean, it's not a negative thing. I mean, we try and we say, hey, I hope you get better and praying for you. And I do pray for people and I do hope people get better. But when it's your body, when it's your life, your family member, your child, gosh, well, golly, now it's all of a sudden it's real. It's tangible. a fear that is inside you. And when you get released from that, oh, uh, different people, different times, same person, different situations can have such a different reaction or response to the news that this horrific thing is in abatement, it's gone. And maybe we'll use words that are inaccurate, like we'll use the word cured. Maybe you're not cured, but you're not under the gun at that moment. You're oftentimes, I know when my son had a diagnosis of a certain type of aggressive cancer, right? And it felt as if I was standing in the gallows with the noose around my neck, you know? And when that passed, the the cathartic the cathartic release, right? From my buddy Chris there, 6 months ago was not a bueno time. The mental picture 7 months ago, not not positive, and not without reason. So it is so liberating to get the words from doctors to say you're going to be better. It's going to be okay. And I think we would hear more of these if more medical professionals would um, at least entertain the idea that nutrition plays a major role in your well-being. I know doctors have a lot on their plate. I would love to have a Wayback Machine to go back and tell little Scotty to pay attention in school and really, really, really make the effort to become a doctor. I would have liked that. That ship has sailed. But I would like to have been a doctor. I used to say when I was younger, that would be a wellness doctor. And to be a wellness doctor would be to realize how important food is and maybe not get dominated by the pharmaceutical industry. Now, doctors' hands are somewhat tied. They do have to worry about legal things and they have to be very careful because of the standard of care issues and stuff like that. But um, it would be an amazing thing for more medical professionals to take into consideration the impacts of diet. Right now, my wife is at a hospital sitting with a friend who's suffering from um, a couple of different medical issues, and part of it is diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And this person cannot, in her weakest moments in a hospital bed, she's just not eating right. My wife paid me the highest respects yesterday when she said to me, should I ever get to this point, do not let them feed me what they feed people in hospitals. You know, I'm like, you betcha. And she said, if I ever get a diagnosis of cancer, I'm listening to what you say. I'm like, wow, that's a little bit of a heavy thing. But the medical community, I think, has some growing to do to get to a point where they are actually going to consider um, a broader universe of possibilities and not just pharmacology. That's not to say that pharmacology doesn't have a spot, that it doesn't have a very important role. There are important medications, there are important things to do. But I was listening to a couple of doctors, Dr. Mason and Dr. Berry, discussed the other day how doctors aren't really trained a lot on how to bring people off medications. They're taught how to titrate them on, particularly I don't know what the right word is, psychiatric medicines. I've had to take a couple. Got a little bit of PTSD thing and had a little depression thing going on. They gave me some medicines and it made me want to puke. But I couldn't just go off of them right away because it could make you have some type of psychotic episode, a depressive episode, and of course suicides. So once they get you on the drugs, they don't really teach them teach doctors how to walk them off the medication. If you're a type 2 diabetic, I'm looking at some of you out there in YouTube land, all right? If you're a type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic or diabetic and your doctor puts you on some medication and then you go on a keto diet or this carnivore diet, hey, slow your roll. We get told that we need to administer let's say you get an exogenous insulin, right? And you're told that after your meals, you need to do this to get the glucose out. There's a good reason for that. Your body does not like extra sugar. Now, sugar is so important to your body that your body can make all that it needs. Your liver can make all the glucose you need. Now, hear that word need. Needs a lot different than want. I want ice cream. I want donuts. I want cake. Trust me, I want chocolate, right? I don't need it. My poor little liver, in conjunction with my pancreas and all those other organs, can take care of most of what I need in the realm of sugars, i.e., glucose, not fructose, all that. And my body can even make fructose. Another discussion. You get about 2 teaspoons of sugar running through your body at any one time. And how many tablespoons or teaspoons of sugar are there in a Coca-Cola or a soft drink, right? Okay. You don't need all that sugar. You just don't need it. Where do they get sugar up in the Arctic Circle? Where do the Eskimos get sugar? Where do the folks that live out in the deserts get, sugar in their historical diets? Okay. You don't need it, right? That's why we need to get this whole idea in the medical field re-examined. But when you go on a journey where you radically reduce the amount of carbohydrates, exogenous carbohydrates, when you stop putting potatoes and corn and tortillas and all those other vegetables, let alone the quote unquote sweets, when you reduce that, you can't keep the same amount of insulin going in your body. Otherwise, you'll crash, right? You don't want to get hypoglycemic. Your body has a very narrow range. I want some sugar, but not too much. Give me a little, but not too much. So your body's really good at this generally, unless you get really unhealthy for like 20 years of drinking beer to excess and stuffing food in your face. And the next thing you know, also your body's, I give up, because your doctor never really did a fasting insulin check. Yeah, your glucose was down, but your insulin was really elevated. And the immediate term issue is the sugar, but the long term is the elevated insulin. You can watch lots of videos out there. Dr. Ben Bikman, he is a Bikman. Dr. Ben Bikman is very, very smart, and he is extraordinarily qualified to talk on these things, and he has a wonderful delivery to make it understandable. But when you eat all them carbs, you're used to eating both buns or all the buns on a Big Mac, along with a thing of French fries and a thing of soda, and then all the seed oils, and then a little bit of meat in there, right? And then all you say, no, I'm going to go do this right. I'm going to do carnivore, or I'm going to do ketovore, or I'm going to do a low carb diet. But you listen to your doctors because they're professionals. We have this great affinity and respect for the medical community. And the doctor said, after I eat, I need to take 20 units of insulin. So I changed everything I ate. I'm not eating all those carbs, but the doctor said I need to take 20 units, or in your belly, you pick up your big old fat roll and you pop your insulin in there, and then you get hypoglycemic. Right? You feel like you got llama face. Now, if you don't want to have a llama face, don't put in so much insulin. So, if you want to get the relationship right, and you have type 2 diabetes, and I'm not a doctor, never played a doctor, even though I've been in the movie business. I'm not a doctor. This is a medical advice. But if you're going to change your diet, don't make sure you change the medical part with it and talk to a doctor that'll work with you. If you tell your doctor, hey doc, look, here's the deal. I know you got me on this insulin. You probably got me on metformin and maybe one other drug. All right. But we're going to stop these drugs. I want to really get off these drugs. I don't think they're long term good for me. So here's what I'm going to do, doc. I'm going to put fewer carbohydrates into my pie hole. See, I'm going to stop having the buns. I'm going to stop having the fries. I'm going to stop having the corn and the cob and the potatoes and the gravy and the rice and the pasta by the buckets. I'm going to stop having the popcorn, right? I'm gonna eat the carrots and the lima beans, right? I'll stop that. But and the sweet tea, right? I'll stop that. But what do I do with my medication? So hopefully your doctor says, "We'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna put you on a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor. They'll pop that right there, put that on your arm, which really doesn't measure glucose, but that's neither here nor there. But it's a good tool, kind of tells you how your body's moving. And if you start noticing that your body is getting too low, maybe you have a couple berries. Berries have a low glycemic load. Your body doesn't turn them into sugar real quick. You'll find a way, you know what I mean? And you'll moderate and you'll keep an idea and you'll have some tools with you. So you have to do your part too. But over time, with intermittent fasting and the reduction of the external carbohydrates, almost said carburetors, carbohydrates going into your face, then your pancreas, particularly if you're early on, all right, your pancreas, the beta islet cells in your pancreas that make the insulin, they're gonna go, thank you, I'm so happy, right? I'm so happy that you're not overworking me. And your sick and inflamed fat tissues that are going, no more, man, no mouse, no mouse, I can't take no more. And your liver that's saying, hey, I got all this sugar and I got to do something with this energy and I'm creating fat and I'm putting it in and I'm sending it out, right? All that gets a break. When you stop shoving your pie hole with all the extra sugars, and remember now, sugars have lots of forms, okay? Well, sugar can be sugar can be honey, sugar can be potatoes and all those things, okay? So when you stop having all that stuff going into your pie hole, a whole cascade of events take over in your body. But you need to know that these are big changes in your body and you need to pay attention. You need to make sure that you're not like trying to juggle too many chainsaws at one time, okay? You don't need to do that. The whole problem that our whole medical situation is involving is it's no one thing. It's a spectrum and it changes all the time. You get a little bit better, so you do a little bit more. If one pill works, well, two's got to be better. That doesn't work. And there's a sense of needing to uh, uh, pay attention all the time. It's kind of like driving, right? When you're driving and you go to the same place all the time, I know how to get home, and then one day you realize I don't remember driving home on half the journey. Right? You're listening to the radio, you're talking to your wife, your kids, whatever you're doing. Hopefully, it's not looking at your phone. We don't do that, right? Okay. But you realize it's gotten so routine, right? Well, we do the same thing in all the areas of our life. I know what I eat. I come home, I do this, ba bum, ba bum, ba bum. What would be really cool is if they could make like a molar cam or maybe a little nose cam, something you could do. I don't know, to where you could really chronicle all that you eat and all that you drink. Because while the calorie in, calorie out model is not as important as we might have thought it was at one time. I'm not saying it's totally disregarded, but we don't really see all that we ate. I just had a couple spoons. And I don't understand how the whole pint of ice cream disappeared, but I only had a couple of spoons. Well, when the spoon is as big as your head, you know, I think we go through life very unaware, and this lack of awareness that becomes a habit. This this habit that becomes so routine feeds back into that lack of awareness loop. And before we know it, we're not getting outside much and exercising. We're eating a lot of bad food, drinking a lot of harmful things, and we're calling it the norm. And then we go, oh man, I'm upset. I want to do something different. I want to be different. I want to change. And so we make the big effort for 2 weeks, and it's hard. It's difficult. And it doesn't feel good. I know. I've been going through that cycle again and again and again. But it's kind of like when if you ever had an old lawnmower engine or something, maybe a motorcycle, I don't know, and you keep pulling it, it almost catches, and then the catch will chug, 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 and then it dies out, right? Sometimes you just have to get the motor to work. It takes some time, right? Well, for me, in my experience, what it is I am getting a new norm. The new norm is when I'm around food groups that have in the past been more than I could bear. Now I'm like, before along the way, I'd be like, oh, I'm really working hard. I'm reverse. I'm going to stay away. Stay away from me. Get away. And I'm getting able to get away from the food through some tremendous effort. Now I'm like, whatever. I don't do with it, do without it. The other night we went and played a game at a friend's house. We played the domino game Train, and they had sweets. They had fresh chocolate chip white chocolate chip macadamia nut cookies, and they had these little lemon, like a petit four, but they're mini cupcakes, not really a petit four. And you know what? I ate some. I ate 2 cookies, and I had 3 of those lemon things, and they made me feel horrible, and I ate it, and then I walked away from it, and I didn't beat myself up. I had it. It wasn't good. It had the negative impact I expected it would have, but I didn't beat myself up. See, I've gotten better at not beating myself up. Well, that's what we all have to work on. We need to find a way to say, "Hey, today I'm gonna do one thing I didn't do yesterday or I didn't do last week," right? It can, like I said, I was saying earlier, you can move back in your chair and you can pick a leg up and hold it up, and you can swap and do another leg. Just something small like that, and those build up into new habits. My buddy Chris, who's here in the comments, um, Chris, he started walking. And he gets out and he walks all the time. He came and visited the other day, and he went out in the morning and he walked 4 miles in the morning because he built the habit. I think what happens is because of our instant gratification society and a lot of different things and our human nature, we want to be able to have it right now, kind of like Baruka. Was it Baruka in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the first one? And she wanted it. She wanted her bean party right now. And I want it right now. Well, you did 3 miles this morning. Sweet. I want hair on my head. I mean, I want full, thick, luscious hair. Hair like I had when I was young. I could pull it all the way back down and went down past my shoulders. I loved my hair, but I'm not going to get it. I don't think keto's going to give it back to me. Matter of fact, I tried to grow it back not too long ago, but that area in the back of my head, it's male pattern baldness. I'm not getting it back, and it's not that important, right? Um, I'm blessed beyond measure with friendships and the love of my wife. Hair is not going to do it for me. But what is going to do it for me? I want to be cognizant when I get to be 80. So I'm going to be 62 in about a month, a little over a month. 62? That's like the new 30 in my book. I want to be really sharp mentally. I want to be able to remember maybe not everything, but I want to be able to remember what I had for breakfast and lunch and dinner. I want to remember the times and the events that were momentous in my life. I, I want to be able to um, express joy from a point where when you tell me you've accomplished something, I can join in the joy knowing and remembering what you overcame. We were talking about last night. I go to a men's Bible study on Monday nights, and the topic was had something to do with rededication, right? And in thinking about that, I had my epiphany, which is if you're going to dedicate yourself to someone, rededicate, that means you realize one, you fell away, but two, you understand the importance of being dedicated to it. Like, people will do it in their relationships, right? Husbands and wives will go to a retreat or they'll go out on a vacation and they'll like reconnect and rekindle the relationship, right? It's because you know the value of it. You recall that. If you don't have recall, then how do you have value? I mean, you can have value. I'm not saying you don't have any value, but with the ability to be cognizant of like for my wife and I, 33 years of marriage, I think it's going to work. But I can't rest on my laurels and just be dismissive and totally um, not present, to use the vernacular of the day. To be present is to me has this meaning of I understand where you are, where you came from, what the challenges are in your life, and I can celebrate them with you. So I'm on this carnivore way of eating for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes people will say, "What is your why? Why are you involved in this? Why are you doing this?" And more often than not, I think people do it for others. I want to be there for my children. Carnivore Kip. If you haven't gone out and seen Carnivore Kip's channel, I've linked to it a few times. It's not hard, just like mine's Carnivore Scott. His is Carnivore Kip, Kipp. You go to his channel and he says, I did the Sam's Club hot dog. Sweet. Hey, if you exercise, you get a little bit more latitude, right? I guess you could say that there's a inverse a relationship. The less you exercise, the more disciplined you need to be in your diet. Chris, when we were working together out there at AFWA, when we were in the military, I did that donut Thursday, and I ate 4 donuts every time. So I'd have 4, maybe 5 donuts. I would go to snack bar and eat things all the time, but I was playing full court basketball for an hour, lifting weights, running around chasing the kids, being a coach for the football team. You know all the stuff. I think I have more latitude. One, I was in better condition. I was younger, but I was moving a whole lot more. Sitting here in the chair being sedentary, well, I've got to be more dependent. A lot of people tell you in the exercise space, you exercise for strength and condition and mobility. The battle of the bulge is won in the kitchen. You can't out exercise a bad diet, but you get a little bit more latitude. And I think that's what's important right there. But yeah, no, I really think you have to be very, very cognizant of where you are in that spectrum. And as you get older, I think we need to be more cognizant on a day by day, maybe even hour by hour basis. Doing in what do you call it? Intuitive training. Today I don't feel it. Like on Sunday, I operated the camera at church, and so I'm carrying this camera on a tripod with the stabilizing motor and everything. and I haven't done it in about a year, and my shoulders are still inflamed and in pain, and my trapezius muscles from holding the camera out and doing that. I am shot. But all in all, it's just, I did something more aggressive than my body was ready for. Now, I'm going to be 62. Kind of cool. I can still do it and run around and do that stuff. But it tells me I need to do more exercise. I need to do more push-ups and pull-ups and resistance training and all those things. And I need to feed my body properly for the recovery. Now I get it. Those amino acids in there to help repair the muscles, and that's a good thing. But as we get older, you have to eat more protein. That's another thing. You get 65, you've got to eat about 20, 25% more protein in a day because your body isn't necessarily as efficient at processing protein when you get older. However, there's a caveat to that. There's always a caveat. I don't think modern medicine knows exactly or even approximately how um, a person's body will perform given the proper human diet, meaning in a spectrum of things. So let me try. If this is the lowest and the worst down here, we're going to say sugars, worst, right? And you keep getting going up the slope to the best. And when you get to the best, you're talking about good fatty meats, fatty salmon, fatty beef, fatty lamb, ruminant meat. When you eat the very best and you leave out the rest, how does the body handle that long term? Now, there are some studies being done, scientific, repeatable studies being done on a carnivore diet. Now, Kellogg's isn't going to like it. I guarantee you that. Monsanto's not going to like it. I guarantee you that. They're already trying to poo poo it with these comments that read like political statements. Well, it could, it may, it might, it could possibly stop. Dr. Tony Hampton had a good one today where he was saying, it's just, come on, seriously? Is this what you're going to do? I don't think that the medical community knows what's going to happen. Too many people are having phenomenal, phenomenal results. Dave Mack had a video he put up today with a gentleman who had his entire large colon removed because of an IBS Crohn's, because of Crohn's. And then he's starting to lose his small intestine, getting ill. And he got an ileostomy. He can't even have a colostomy because he got no colon. He got a bag permanently. Young man, permanently got a bag. They took out his whole colon. They gave him all these experimental medicines, to include medicine that had mouse DNA in it, because the doctor said you got to do this. And then finally, in desperation, he tries this carnivore thing, and the doctors are mad at him, and the dietitian's mad. So you got to have the sugar, you got to eat the carbohydrates. And the guy's like, I'm not going to do it. And I can't get off the phone until you tell me you'll at least consider it. So he says, I'll consider it. So she got off the phone. It's been a year. His Crohn's is in remission. They did all the studies and the MRIs. He's in remission. And he lost his colon and his anus. Gone. Because medical doctors, medical conventions said, no, you got to eat this grain. You got to eat this stuff. This gruel is the best you can do. Don't eat that meat. Oh, no. I'd be so mad. But you know what? He's celebrating because he's alive. He's celebrating because he's not having to empty that bag 6 to 8 times a day. He's like, I empty it once a day because I feel I need to. I don't really need to. Chris, I don't know if you want to say, but after Chris's surgery, guess what they told him? Low fiber diet. But I thought fiber was the cure all for everything. No, it isn't. It isn't. Is it antithetical to good health? Probably not. But is it optimal? No. No. Is eating a potato antithetical to life? No. Matter of fact, if you go and look, cassava, which is like a potato root, right? Cassava, probably the widest uh, food item eaten in the hemispheric parts of the world. I mean, the equatorial region and southern hemisphere. Cassava, big long potatoy root, but you got to boil the bejesus out of it. You know what I mean? Almonds, the bitter almond, which is the pit of a is the pit of a peach. I want to say the pit. Um, Lots of bad chemicals in there. So all I'm trying to say is that some things be better than other things, more optimal. And if you stick with the optimal stuff, why gosh, it's like your life is a country western record being played backwards. And you get your health, and your house, your car, your dog, you get it all back. I mean, I've got that fatty McFatty liver. And the fatty McFatty liver progressed to a liver with portal vein hypertension that progressed to cirrhosis and fibrosis and liver surface nodules. And guess what? I've stuck with this a carnivore thing now almost 120 days. Next week's going to be 120 days, 4 months. Very few non-carnivore days. I define carnivore like everybody else. 70% or more of my dietary intake is from animal-based products. That leaves 30% that's not. And I would tell you, my non-animal based intake is 5% or less. And I'm being gratuitous, I think, to say 5%. If it doesn't have a face or had a mother or come from an animal, I don't eat it. Turns out I don't need it. I haven't died yet. I don't have rickets. Everything seems to be coming back better. Why? Because I guess this is the optimal diet. Now I eat sausage and I eat bacon and I eat hamburger and steak and I'll eat some yard bird. I like some chicken and I'll do some pork. I got to admit, pork doesn't necessarily agree with me wholeheartedly, and I don't eat whole bunches of bacon. But I do like me some sausage. I don't want 2 pieces of sausage in the morning a couple times a week. It does me just fine. Without any fiber added to my diet. I do not eat vegetables as a general principle. I might have the grilled onions on a burger. The meal comes with something. I might eat some broccoli. I know, florets, right? I'll have some blueberries here and there. I made some Dr. Kilt's ice cream, carnivore ice cream, and I used 7 cherries. I made a pint with 7 cherries, cherry ice cream. Yeah. I'll eat a couple walnuts, right? Again, less than 5% of my diet is non-animal, right? I have no problems in the elimination realm, none at all. I think things are better for me. But most importantly, what's better for me is my liver, with all this area in here, that great big old huge liver, is doing better. Now, some people say I'm losing weight. It looks like I've lost weight. And I would say, yes, my weight has changed. And the weight I am today is less than the weight I was almost 4 months ago. All right. When I was 310 pounds, whereas today I might be 286, 285, 289, under 290 to say, by my scale. Now, doctor's scale and my scale, not the same. But I picked one and I kept the one. So relatively speaking, the weight has changed. Yeah, I have. But what I've lost is fat. And so with adequate, and I do think I say adequate, and I'm actually suboptimal on my protein. I'm supposed to eat 200 grams of protein a day is what I should be aiming for because I have 200 lean pounds. Now, more realistically, 150 grams. 1 pound of 80/20 hamburger has about 80 grams of protein. So I'm supposed to eat 2 pounds of that 80/20, or, 1 pound ribeye, 1 pound New York, and another half pound of hamburger. And or I can add in eggs. And I have 6 to 8 eggs a day. And yes, my cholesterol has gone up. But when you do reading and you do your own research, you find out, particularly at my age, so it's a U curve. When you're young and when you're old, you do better when you have more cholesterol. Now, cholesterol can be broken down lots of different ways. You can go find some really smart people. Dr. Ben Bickman, he's probably one of the leading people in the world on everything about fat. But the cholesterol I have that's high is not a big deal. My LDL, I am not worried about. I'm trying to get my HDL up. I want my HDL to be up in the 60s. My triglycerides are always, my triglycerides are below 100, normally in the 80s. So low triglycerides, higher HDL, making my HDL to triglyceride ratio closer to optimal, right, are good. So I'm not worried about cholesterol, particularly the LDL. And if you're taking statin drugs, and I'll do a video, I'll have to dedicate a video to it. But when you go and you get back to the data at the back of the pages, it has less than a 2% improvement on your well-being. And that when they have a average number of treatments to a positive outcome, this is something they put in the tables in the back, one of those data points that no one ever reads. You want that to be as close to 1 to 1. So for every one person we give one pill to, they have a positive outcome, right? That's what you really want. You want to say this medication is so capable, and the efficacy of this medication is so awesome that you just take a dose and you're getting better, right? Well, it's in the thousands for statin. Taking statin drugs might add a day or two to your life, and the side effects are horrific. Think of it this way: with a statin messes with your ability of your body to do things with cholesterol. Okay. Your brain, the majority component of the gray matter in the skull, is cholesterol. What coats the nerves? The myelin sheath that coats nerves, made of cholesterol. Maybe half of all the hormones in your body are built on a backbone of cholesterol. Your body thinks cholesterol is so important it can make its own cholesterol. But yeah, we're going to give you a medication that interrupts it. What could go wrong? Well, we treated the cholesterol problem that we see, and we have attributed to atherosclerotic plaque. That's a tough word, right? For that plaque that forms in the heart into arteries. But that's like saying cops cause auto accidents, because every time you go to auto accident, there's a cop there. The cop didn't cause the auto accident. The cop's there because of the accident, because of the injury, because of what's going on. Same thing with the plaque. The cholesterol is there because they needed some spackling to deal with the inflammation at the point. So a little calcium and a little bit of cholesterol, you make a little bit of putty, you put it across the scratch and the scar, and yeah, you got a little plaque buildup in your arteries. What caused the inflammation? The insulin? No. Yeah, hyperinsulinemia, chronic elevated insulin. Is your doctor measuring your insulin? Can you go back and look at all the years of your data and go, oh, yeah, the doctor ordered my insulin all the time? Yeah, isn't that the A1C? No. A1C is a measure of the 3-month average of a protein associated with your blood glucose, right? And your A1C might go up because that protein is based on something in your red blood cells, and that red blood cells now can live longer. So now you have more of them. So you have a little bit of an elevation to your A1C. That doesn't mean that your blood glucose is dangerously getting higher over the last 3 months. It just means that your red blood cells aren't dying off in the same way that they would into the standard American diet. All right. So sorry about that. Get a little excited about that. But if your insulin is high, well, you have a problem. Your body's smarter than you. I know. Comes as a shock. But if your insulin is elevated, there's a reason. Your body doesn't sit around and your pancreas doesn't sit around, I got nothing to do today. You know what I'm gonna do? We're gonna spit out some more insulin. No, it's doing it in response. And it doesn't do it in a steady state. It's pulsatile. Right. So it really does help to go out and learn some things and get knowledgeable and listen to people and then interact with your doctor in such a way. But you can do a lot of this yourself when you stop eating all the sweet things. There was a study done I read about where they wanted to know how does insulin in your body respond to, or how did your body respond to sweet things, right? So they had people eat apple pie and then spit out the apple pie. So they never got the apple pie from beyond their mouth, never went down their throat and into their tummy. And they had needles running into them and they checked their insulin and their insulin jumped up. Now, how did insulin jump up if you never had the sugar? You never actually ate it, right? Now, I know maltose and a few things can get digested in the mouth, right? But what they did is they did this with the fake sugars too. That's what got my attention. See, I've had a very unnatural relationship with saccharin for 27 years. Just couldn't figure out why I'm not winning the battle when I'm doing carnivore, but I'm eating 1.5 pounds of saccharin every month. Okay, not that much, but a lot. Well, turns out as soon as you taste sweet, there's a couple of TRL 3 or 4 in your mouth. The sense of sweet tells the body, hey, we got some sweet stuff coming, guys. Y'all want to get ready? Hey, buddy, get ready for it. Here it comes. And the pancreas like, all right, man, I got it. And boom, out goes a little bit of insulin. Now, your body, the beta cells, they keep a little insulin in the beta cell, kind of like on a shelf for that immediate need, And like, what if you have fight or flight? What if a bear is coming into your tent to eat you? You got to go, right? So the whole thing, cortisol, I want to say something, one of the fight or flight medication hormones goes off, your adrenaline kicks off, and all sorts of great things happen in your body. And boom, there goes the insulin trying to help you out, get things done, fight or flight, right? But it's exhausted. Now the beta cells, gotta make more, make more. And then you get a little bit more later. That's that pulsatile idea, you know what I mean? But so when he did this test where the people were eating the apple pie or eating the sweet stuff, even when they ate artificially sweetened things, no, their glucose didn't change. No, glucose didn't necessarily change right away, but the insulin did. And if you're using pink sugar or yellow sugar, and I want to say the blue sugar, but definitely the pink and the yellow. If you're using pink and yellow packets of sugar and you open them up and you look at the back and you get your phone because you've got eyes like mine and I don't have my glasses on, and even with my glasses, can't read that print. So I use my phone, and the very first thing you see is dextrose. There's dextrose in each package, and then maltose in no pack. Those are sugars that hit the system hard. And then they got the fake stuff in there. And because it's less than half a gram, they can say it's sugar-free. Which sugar? Politics, advertising, to get you. So the idea is, again, we can do a lot of things, and we can empower ourselves to change things in our bodies. We need to do it in a metered, purposeful, intentful way. We need to not do it in a vacuum of ignoring all the other things. But also, we don't need to blindly accept as gospel what I'm saying, what your doctor is saying. And for the love of all the green apples on earth, you don't have to absolutely trust the government. That's all I'll say about that. We got to do our own research. We need Remember when you were a teenager, preteen, a teenager, you were like, "I am the captain of of my life. I say what's important. I know what to do. I'm going on my journey." 30 years later, we're the slaves to Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn or Instagram. We're the slave to CNN, Fox News, whatever, Drudge Report, MSNBC, CBS, ESPN, Disney. We have surrendered so much of our lives to anything and everything else. I know, I did, because it's easier. I let my boss tell me what to do. I let my family tell me what to do. Maybe they don't tell me what to do, but I let them influence my decisions, right? I let Krispy Kreme tell me that a glazed gooey donut was the center of the universe of good, right? I did. Barbecue. I love me some barbecue, but let me put all that barbecue sauce on there, right? Hey, I ain't calling you out, bro. I'm looking at myself. I can't see anybody else. I'm talking to myself. But right? We let all these outside agencies have an unnatural control on our lives. And I've thought about, oh, look at that, scared away people. I have thought about it somewhat long and hard, that that's the natural human condition. I've got to trust somebody. I can't do it all on myself. I can't be an island unto myself. I have to innately have a sense of trust for something, for someone. And the people closest to me, I trust the most. I surrender the most control to, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? The challenge is, for me, I don't like being alone. I don't like solitude. It's not comfortable. I have my guitar right here. I've had this guitar for a long time. I still don't know how to play it, but I've got it. It's right there. I've got another one back over here, and I've got all these different things, and I put in my life. Hey, it's Oaktown Girl. How you doing? Sneak listening from work, okay? Shh. We won't tell anybody. But the idea is surrendering so much of myself to all these other things, when I just have to learn to be accepting of there being times that it's quiet or times that I'm not eating. Why do we have to eat all the time? I think that's one of the greatest success stories I've found on this carnivore journey is I am released. I am I am empowered and released and relieved of a regimented external need to eat. Now, I love to eat. I'm good at it, but I don't have to. I don't get headaches, generally speaking. I don't get dizzy. I don't get woozy. I just don't have to eat. Now, I eat plenty of food. It's not like I don't eat. This morning I tried to make ice cream yesterday. Well, I did make it, but I had a small problem in the first iteration, but I ended up with 6 egg whites. The important part of this conversation is I ended up with 6 egg whites. And I didn't want to throw them away, so I put my 6 egg whites in a jar and I put them in the fridge. And this morning I added 2 more whole eggs to it and I scrambled up and I ate them all up, right? But the idea that I was getting to is, I didn't have to eat them yesterday. I didn't have to eat them today. I ate because I need the protein. I have to try to get that 150 grams minimum in each day. You know how hard it is to get a clean, or not clean, but 150 animal grams of protein a day? So I do my best to have, The eggs in the morning, I'll have my 6 eggs, and I'll have a pound of hamburger, and I'll have a 14-ounce steak today, and that'd be a great day, but some days I just don't feel it. I don't do it, but I do my best. Um, uh, Being in a carnivore way of life has really helped me not be a slave or be overly influenced by the house of McDonald's or the house of uh, Texas de Brazil, right? I can eat as I need. I can eat out. When I first started carnivore, one of the big challenges, and my wife has mentioned it, is I don't know what to plan. A restrictive diet. What do we eat? And I said, well, wait a minute, hold on. We've gotten rid of one food group, carbs. I still eat fat. I eat lots of fat. I eat all the meats. What I found is easier is I can go to a restaurant, I can order a meal, and just get the takeaway, the carry out, right? I can get a to-go box, and I can put the broccoli and the French fries, whatever. I'm not going to eat them, but I can put them in there and walk away. I don't have to be socially awkward, right? What are you doing? I'm just not feeling it today, not feeling it good, right? You can do all sorts of things to mask the abnormal behavior. Other people do it all the time. People who get that gastric bypass, they can eat about that much food, right? I'm taking it with me. So we don't. So I guess what I'm saying is, in the process of us surrendering so much control of our lives to external agents, we also try to make excuses for what we do. We don't. We don't have to. If you're an adult, you don't owe anybody an explanation. You don't owe an explanation to your mommy or your daddy or your children. You don't owe an explanation to almost anybody. It would be wise that if you have a significant other in your life to share, but appropriately, if your significant other is not on board with it, don't beat them up. There's nothing to be gained. That's what, being almost 62, that's a life lesson that's been very difficult for me to comprehend. I can't say I've learned it. You don't have to be right. There's a joke. I've heard it told two different ways, or a story, and maybe not joke. So, um, how's it go? Oh yeah. So this monkey comes up to the tiger and tells the tiger, "Did you know that the moon is made of cheese?" And the tiger said, "No, it's not." Or you can put anything else on it. The grass is blue. Yes, the grass is blue. Did you know that the grass is blue? No, the grass is not blue. It's green. No, it's blue. No, it's not. They get into a big old argument. So they go to the king of the jungle. They go to the lion and say to the lion, the monkey says, "Lion, this idiot of a tiger has said that the grass is not blue, but that it's green. Isn't the grass blue?" And the tiger says, "Yes, you're absolutely right. The grass is blue." And the monkey's like, and then any boo boo told you. And the tiger's like, "What the Sam Hill is going on?" And then the king of the lion says, "You may not speak for 30 days." And the tiger's like, what is going on? So the monkey runs off. The monkey's like, "Yeah, the grass is blue. The grass is blue. The lion said I'm right? The tiger goes up to the lion later on and says, "What in the Sam Hill is going on here? The grass is not blue, the grass is green." And the lion says, "Yeah, I know." And the tiger said, "Well, then why did you agree with the monkey?" And said, "Well, um, first of all, why you waste my time with this? And second of all, don't get involved in an argument with a fool. And that's why you got punished. You wasted my time and you argued with the fool." Well, sometimes that fool might be a family member. That fool might be your medical provider. That fool might even be the one you see in the mirror. Yeah, I never thought of that, huh? No one ever forced me to eat those donuts and drink that beer and do all the crazy things I've done to harm my well-being. I don't know what the long-term repercussions are going to be for having a fatty McFatty liver for years. But this is what I do know. I have the knowledge now. So double dumbass on me if I go back. You know what I mean? That the real challenge is that once you know. Now I have gone back. Last year I did this carnivore thing for well over 3 months, and it was working. And then I saw the Halloween candy, and I said I can eat one or two and get away with it. Guess what? You can't. Mm-mm. I can't. You can't. I can't. It's no longer my kryptonite. And when I do fall down, and I do, and I will again, maybe I'm able to show myself a little more grace. What I think I'm showing myself is I'm learning how to get back up, not beat myself up, and move forward. So, like this past weekend when I had the cookies and the little Petitfours on steroids, i.e., mini cupcakes, when that happened, I didn't beat myself up. I said, it really wasn't worth it. So why are you doing it? And let's just move forward, and it's fine. Right? I think that's what this whole. I think that's what this whole journey is about. It's about, all right, I learned something. I've what do they call it when you take it into your heart? You know, when you take it and you've personalized it, right? When you've made it integral to your personality, right? Integral to my personality would be, I don't need it, and I don't feel guilty, and I don't feel I'm missing out. See, a big thing in my life has always been the law of scarcity, right? Grew up in a good house, grew up in a great family, all the usual things that might go on in a family, two older brothers, younger sister, mom, pa, normal run of mill things. But in my house, things and the way I perceived the world, FOMO, fear of missing out. There you go, brother. The way I perceive things, if we didn't eat all the food when dinner was there, I might go hungry or I might miss something, right? Yeah, internalize it. That's right. Internalizing exactly what we're thinking there, Oaktown. So the idea is I have to move off this island of FOMO, 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 FOMO. Okay. Sorry about that. But move off this. That doesn't have to be my reality forever. I was just talking about that with the wife yesterday, that the challenges we had as children, young adults, don't have to chain us to that island of misfit toys. It will require us to leave what is known. How many times are we guilty of staying with the pain or the poison we know to avoid the unknown? I remembered. I'm reminded of a story in World War II in Turkey, where a guy ran a prison, and he told the prisoners when they came in, generally speaking, the prisoners were going to be, war prisoners, sometimes as spies, whatever. And he would tell them, "Hey, look, in the morning, depending on what the crime was, for, in the morning, I'm gonna give you an opportunity. You can go behind, you can go through that door, or you can go through that door." And so the first door leads to a punishment. Maybe it was prison, maybe it was execution. And door number two leads to freedom. And this warden said his greatest disappointment was no one ever took door number two because it literally led to their freedom. He would have let them go. I don't know the veracity of that story, but it's the idea of, isn't that how we, at times at least, lead our lives? Look, I got hurt by this one time. I got hurt by this 10 times. So that means it's going to happen every time. And that's not the truth. Well, I went hungry one time, you know. I went on I started doing carnivore and I just don't want to go hungry. And then you never allow your body a chance to be going into autophagy because we're constantly adding food because I'm worried that I'll go hungry. And then what do we end up doing? We keep feeding ourselves and then we wonder, why am I not seeing some of the benefits that some people get when they do carnivore and they fast for maybe 36 hours? A lot of people, I've done 4-day and 5-day fasts. It's possible. I didn't die. But there's a good body of evidence to say for most people, doing a 36-hour fast pretty much maximizes a lot of the benefits. Now, everybody has a little different. If you can, how do you do a 36-hour fast? You eat real well for a week or two, and maybe you do priming, as a steak and butter gang would tell you, and then you stop eating maybe at dinner, and maybe 5 o'clock's your last dinner. You eat your last food, and you drink water, right? You go all night, and you don't go to breakfast. And next time you do it all night, and you don't go, and you go all the way to lunch, right? Or you don't eat lunch. So one week you don't eat breakfast on Monday. The next week, you don't eat breakfast and lunch. You only go to dinner. Also, that's 24 hours. A couple weeks later, you say, okay, I'm not going to eat breakfast. I got that. I'm not going to eat lunch. I got that. I'm not going to eat dinner. I got that. I'm going to eat breakfast the next morning. You're at 36 hours, right? See, 24 and 12, 36 hours. And you've just done a 36-hour fast. And maybe you do that once a quarter. Gives your body a chance to go into autophagy in a more realistic. Now, I would like to see it, and if any of you out there, Oaktown, or you know this, I think there's some level of autophagy probably going on somewhere in the body. It's not all just apoptosis or planned cellular death. I think I have read the gentleman who got the Nobel Prize for identifying and capturing the entire autophagy process. I think he did one of those special yeasts. He has talked about, a lot of people talk about, if you want to eat 100 grams of protein a day, you need to eat 100 grams of protein. So you make sure you get enough of the essential proteins, because there's some proteins you have to eat externally, and you have to eat enough of them so you get enough of the essential proteins. But in your body, so you eat in 100, right? But your body turning over about 300 grams a day. Old skin, old muscle tissues, and all the different things your body turns over, right? Your body is the ultimate um, green machine, okay? It's turning stuff over all the time. So if 300 grams of protein are turning over in your body, wow, that's a lot of things going on, right? Your body's unzipping things and unzipping fats and unzipping proteins and making new substrate and doing all these chemical cascades going along the way. There's a whole bunch. It's really loud in the body, particularly I think at the cellular level. If you were to put in some little tiny itty bitty microphones, it'd be like this huge amount of noise because you've got cells, and within a cell you've got lysomes enveloping things, and organelles and all sorts of things. You've got your proton pumps working, you've got your ATP being generated and going into the mitochondria, right? There's all sorts of going on in there, and protein are being turned over, and the fats and the sugars and the whole 9 yards going on all the time. So I think there's probably more going on, and we just don't understand it all at this point in time, which is understandable. But I wanted to cover a few of those things today, and I appreciate you all being out there. We're getting close to a pretty long time here on this, and I'm going to go ahead and close it down. But the important part is that I began with is I put a video together to put out as a canned video to talk about the great news, the amazing news. I didn't have that energy before, about my liver and the reversal, the the lack of presence of portal vein hypertension. And I give all the credit to the proper human diet, animal-based diet that had a fairly moderate fat and increased protein and extraordinarily low, not no, but very low carbohydrate diet that I've been on for almost 120 days. So if in 120 days I can reverse portal vein hypertension, I wonder what I wonder what's going to happen at 100 at half a year, 110, 120, 120. Well, you can't really do it like that because that's 240. That's not at 180 days. That's the word I was looking for. Thanks. Thanks for helping me. Um, but yeah, to have that portal vein hypertension go away, to have the doctor say maybe that's cirrhosis and that fibrosis isn't really a real thing in your condition. Wow, that's amazing. And I'd love to shout it from the top of a building, but this is going to have to do. But otherwise, I need to get cracking. I got some things I need to attend to. And with that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you very much, Chris, for jumping in. I appreciate that. I will tell Miss Jackie hello. Thank you, Oaktown. And for those who are watching, I hope you have a great remainder of your day and that you enjoy all that you can today based on realizing today has been a gift. It's been a very special gift to you. It's been a gift to me for sure. And with that, peace, prayers, and blessings to each one of you. I'll see you around some point in time. I'm sure I'll catch you in a live that someone else does. Take care now. Bye bye. Now, where's that button? Oh, it's over there. All right. See you.